might need to move to Atlantis.
How Solskjaer overcame Mourinho in the tactical battle. Tottenham 1, Manchester United 3, a tactical analysis. For cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to www.jerseyfifa.com. A link will be left in the description and use code atlantisfootball to get 5% off. Before I get into the analysis, just give me 30 seconds to tell you about the OneFootball app, because this is the app I use to keep up to date with the latest circulating transfer rumours, and I find the match section on their app incredibly useful as well, as they have stats from matches from pretty much every league in the world, which is great for keeping up to date with the leagues, teams and players that you aren't able to watch as much as you would like. If you like this channel, you'll definitely love this app, and you'll be helping to support the channel directly, so click the link in the description to get the OneFootball app. So going into the game, Mourinho lined up his side in what looked to be a 4-3-3 shape, with Lloris in goal, Rodon and Dyer as centre-backs, with Aurier and Reguilon either side as the full-backs. Højbjerg started as a single pivot in midfield, with Ndombele and Lo Celso ahead of him. Son started from the left of the forward line, Lucas from the right, and Kane played as the centre-forward. Solskjaer used his usual 4-2-3-1 system, with Henderson in goal, Wan-Bissaka and Shaw the full-backs, either side of Maguire and Lindelof at centre-back. Fred and McTominay played as a midfield double pivot, with Fernandes ahead of them, as Pogba and Rashford played either side of him with Cavani up front. From the start of the game, we saw United drop into their usual 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1 kind of defensive shape, which saw them press Tottenham aggressively in their defensive third, with Fernandes and Cavani working as a front two, pressurising the Tottenham centre-backs when they received the ball. Rashford and Pogba, the two wide midfielders, would push up the pitch, ready to man-to-man press the wide players, and McTominay and Fred would also push up onto Ndombele and Lo Celso, with the United central midfielders being prepared to follow these players if they dropped into deeper positions. Tottenham's 4-1-4-1 system became a 3-4-3 shape in possession, with Højbjerg dropping into that defensive line to create a back three with Rodon and Dyer, allowing Reguilon and Aurier to push up the flanks. Ndombele and Lo Celso were left as a midfield double pivot, with Kane, Lucas Moura and Son dropping between the lines in behind the United midfield. Earlier on in the season, we had seen Tottenham completely retreat to their own half in big games when the opposition had the ball, but in this game they pushed high up the field, pressing in a 4-1-4-1 shape with Ndombele and Lo Celso pushing up to man press McTominay and Fred in United's defensive third. United used a 2-4-3-1 possession shape, which would become a 3-3-3-1 shape when McTominay dropped wide and deep to create a wide back three when United had the ball in the middle third, creating a diamond shape with Fred at the point. We've seen Solskjaer use his possession shape frequently in the last few months, and it was used against Tottenham because when McTominay drops wide and deep into this position, United now have a wider base to circulate possession around Harry Kane. It would also allow McTominay to get on the ball, as Ndombele would man-to-man press him if he retained his central position alongside Fred. It was relatively effective at stopping United progressing the ball into the Tottenham half, which had been something that Mourinho's side have been pretty bad at doing this season, often retreating too deep and inviting pressure in their own defensive third. When United were able to retain possession in the middle third, however, we would see Tottenham drop off into a 4-1-4-1 deeper shape. United's focus in possession was trying to get the ball into Fernandes and Pogba, who were stationed in each of the half spaces between the lines. However, the Tottenham central midfield and Højbjerg especially did a good job of anticipating passes into them and shifting over to put in the tackle and break up the attack. Luke Shaw was an outlet on the left flank, as he would push forward a lot more aggressively than Wan-Bissaka did on the right, with Pogba moving in field from the left side, which gave United a 2-3-4 possession shape at times, with Fernandes and Pogba playing as an advanced midfield double pivot ahead of Fred and McTominay. Both sides had similar problems with creating chances in the final third. This can be seen as up until Tottenham's opening goal in the 39th minute, Tottenham had recorded an XG of just 0.15, with United's at 0.09, showing a lack of chances being created. To be fair to United, they did create a goal which was disallowed. In this move, United were able to get the ball into the box, with Fred playing a pass into Pogba, who then found Cavani's run with a great low pass, which led to Cavani finishing the chance, but the goal was pulled back for an earlier foul in the build-up. Tottenham were looking to transition the attack quickly when they did win the ball back with vertical passes into Harry Kane, who would drop off from the forward line or by playing long direct balls over United's back line to find the runs of Heung-min Son. However, Tottenham's breakthrough around the 40-minute mark didn't come from this sort of counter-attack, instead they exposed United's uncoordinated press. See here, the ball gets shifted over to Eric Dyer on the right and Pogba's quick to push out of the midfield line to close him down. However, Fred is not high enough to man-to-man press, which leaves Lo Celso free in front of him, enabling Dyer to take Pogba out of the game with one pass in field. When Fred does move to close down Lo Celso, he leaves Ndombele free in the space behind him. Maguire doesn't stick to Ndombele either, allowing Tottenham to bypass United's midfield line with two simple passes. Ndombele from here is able to play a direct pass into Kane, whose first time pass finds Lucas, as Maguire doesn't get back goal side of him despite not moving out of the back line with Ndombele either. Lindelof also should maybe intercept Kane's pass if his body positioning was more open. Instead, Lucas receives the ball after an excellent third man run and squares it to Son, who knocks the ball past Dean Henderson to give Tottenham the lead. So going into the second half, United needed to find a way to work the ball into the box a lot more often. What we saw in the second half was that Pogba and Rashford were being given more freedom to roam inside into central positions, which then gave Fernandes the freedom to drift out wide into these right wide positions. United did get the equaliser as Tottenham began to drop deeper in their defensive third. Here, as Fred receives the ball midway in the Tottenham half, the Tottenham midfield should be pushing out to pressurise him instantly. However, they are slumped backwards, allowing Fred to pick his head up and find an incisive pass into Fernandes. Aurier doesn't follow Fernandes deep, so is able to return the ball to Fred, who plays another quick 1-2 with Rashford before threading the pass through for Cavani, and Cavani's shot rebounds to Fred, who puts the ball into the roof of the net. Before this goal, I thought Fred's forward passing was pretty poor throughout the game, with a lot of his long passes being intercepted. However, here his quick incisive passes into the final third were top level, and he deserved the goal at the end of the move. Mourinho shifted his system to a 4-4-1-1 shape, with Sissoko coming on alongside Højbjerg in a midfield double pivot, with Ndombele and then Lamela now sitting in front. This was a defensive move as Mourinho wanted to close off the space either side of Højbjerg as a single pivot, where Pogba, Fernandes and Rashford were dropping into, but this meant that Tottenham's midfield couldn't man-to-man press McTominay and Fred anymore, which only left Ndombele in that midfield line, and now Højbjerg and Sissoko were deeper. This allowed McTominay to drop into these deeper right wide positions, wide of Lindelof, and in turn saw Tottenham begin to slide deeper into their own defensive third, which just invited pressure. In my transfer series on United, which will be linked in the description below, I said that it's these kinds of situations where United could significantly improve if they had better players in these deeper positions who were better incisive and creative passers than Fred and McTominay, even though Fred in this game was a very effective forward passer, particularly in the second half. Greenwood did come on to the right side for Rashford, with Pogba and Fernandes retaining central positions in between the lines. This gave United increased width, but also created an outlet for United to shift the ball to a wide position to create a Greenwood v Reguilón 1-on-1. Tottenham was still trying to push hard during their press, but without the two central midfielders able to push up to man-to-man press United's double pivot, they found it a lot easier to progress the ball into Tottenham's half. Both sides seemed to be having most joy down the flanks. United were working most of their best attacks down the right side, with Fernandes drifting over to that flank, and Wan-Bissaka overlapping more aggressively in the second half. Tottenham were having most of their joy down the left flank, with Son and Kane able to drift over to that channel and release shots which forced Henderson into two good saves with his feet. But it was United who took the lead down their respective stronger side in this game, with Fernandes finding Greenwood on the top of the right box, and he curled in a fantastic cross for Cavani. Aurier should have been goal side of Cavani, so he could have intercepted the cross in behind Dyer, but he isn't, and Cavani's movement is superb, which is really what creates this chance, and his header is guided into the far corner perfectly, giving United the breakthrough. The goal came around the 79th minute mark, and from then on United were content to drop back into their 4-4-2 defensive shape, with the wide midfielders now a lot more diligent in tracking the runs of the fullbacks. Mourinho's side were unable to find a breakthrough, seemingly being solely reliant on Kane receiving the ball and turning, and then creating a chance. United were then able to wrap up the game after they won the ball back in Tottenham's half. Fred played the forward pass into Cavani, who laid it off for Pogba, who then drifted past Højbjerg and found Greenwood on the right in a 1-on-1 versus Reguilón. The youngster was able to move the ball quickly onto his right before smashing it hard into the near post, with Lloris unable to keep it out. So United got the 3-1 victory in the game that actually saw both sides play pretty well throughout different phases of the game. I think the mistake Mourinho made was reverting to a 4-2-3-1 shape, bringing on Sissoko and now using a midfield double pivot, as this meant that Tottenham couldn't press Fred and McTominay man to man, as now one of those central midfielders was sitting deep alongside Højbjerg. This lack of a man-to-man press allowed United to progress the ball into Tottenham's half a lot easier, pushing Tottenham back and inviting pressure, which is where United's first two goals came from. Cavani and Pogba were the two standout players for United, with Fred having a good second half as well, and Tottenham still looked far too reliant on Heung-min Son and Harry Kane to not only create in the final third but just get the ball into the final third. When United sat deeper and closed up the space between their midfield and defence, and Tottenham struggled to open up United, as they seemed to be able to do in the first half when United were caught with players up the field, and Tottenham could counter into that space. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, remember to subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you get notified when my videos come out. You can check out my Manchester United and Chelsea transfer series, which will be linked in the description, and follow me on my other social media accounts as well for more content.